As you know, Texas has experienced a great tragedy over the 4th of July weekend. This is an experience that has led to grief, to heartache, to confusion, and is going to be an experience and a tragedy that lives on and has ripple effects for years to come. At the Vine, our heartbeat is to surround our communities, to provide support the way that we can, and to be in it with you. We know that this experience has shaken adults and kiddos alike. It's shaken all ages, it's shaken all people, it's shaken even past our state. And so it's important for us to expand on a post that we made over the weekend and to share some guidance of having hard conversations with your littles about hard things. And so we want to just take a few minutes and be able to speak into some of the expectations that you can have with these hard conversations and to provide the support that we can. I love the metaphor that our kids are like sponges. We usually say this the most when they're little and they're learning new words and new things all day, every day. But really, that's how our kids' brains are, is they're like sponges. And when hard things happen, when hard experiences happen, when hard life happens, as parents, we want to protect our kiddos. And so our tendency can be to protect the sponge and to cover it and not let any of that bad stuff in. However, what happens is when our protection is removed, that sponge is left dry and it is left to absorb whatever it is exposed to. And so we're actually going to flip that script. And when hard things happen, we want to be parents who saturate the sponge, who are able to speak into the hard things and provide clarity amongst the confusion, and to be able to help that sponge soak up appropriate and healthy, clarifying information instead of being exposed to whatever is outside of our control. We know that our kids are exposed to things through friendships, through teachers, through other people. And so we have this beautiful opportunity to be able to saturate that sponge. The way that we do that is by telling them the truth. Now, we want to tell them the age-appropriate, helpful, clarifying truth. We want to speak into the confusion that may be surrounding them. But that doesn't mean that we need to give them every detail. It doesn't mean that we need to drag on and on and on. But it does mean that we need to broach it and we need to teach them about the experience and what happened and help them to make sense of it. It's helpful to know that what's appropriate is going to change based on your kiddo's age, based on their development, based on their emotional maturity, and it's important to lean into knowing your child in those moments. It's also important to know that when these experiences happen and as these conversations happen, that this could lead to even more questions. And especially in experiences like these, it may lead to questions about death and dying. And that is a hard topic even for adults to handle. And so this is a great opportunity for you and your other parent to be able to connect and make sure that you are on the same page of what message to communicate to your children about what happens after death. It's also okay to not know all the answers. None of us do, and it's okay to tell them that you don't know. Now, if it's something that you're just not sure how to respond to, tell them you'll get back with them in 24 hours. But if it's something that you're not going to know even in 24 hours, you can share. I don't know the answer to that. Let's try and figure it out together. Or I don't know the answer to that, and that makes me feel confused or uncertain. And it's okay that you feel that way too, and I'm here with you in it. Experiences like these often tend to create feelings of shakiness in children, as far as feeling like there are things that felt sure that are no longer sure. And so it can create this wariness, it can create this confusion, it can create other questions about if other things are going to change. This is all absolutely typical, and it's something that we can help them work through. Experiences like this may lead to things that once felt predictable no longer feeling predictable or secure in their world. This is absolutely a typical experience, and it's okay that they're feeling that way. And we can just provide that support and that validation of those feelings and that encouragement that there are things that are still for certain. And there are a lot of things that aren't. It's okay to explain to your kiddos that scary things happen, and there are only so many things in life that are within our control, but that we're not going to live in that fear, and we're not going to not do things or not trust things because a scary situation happened. We can talk about the things that exist in our world that we are able to control, and then the things that we're not. One of the ways I like to explain that is by talking about there are things in the world that are like rocks, and there are things in the world that are like Play-Doh. No matter how much I take this rock and I squeeze it and I shape it and I mold it, it's still gonna be a rock. It's out of my control. Play-Doh, I can squish and I can mold and I can reshape. These are the things that I can control. These are the things that I can't. And so we can only focus, or it's helpful to only focus on the things that we can control. This tragedy may lead to kiddos being scared of camp in the future, and it's important that we validate that, and it's important that we share that we understand that that's a scary thing, and that you can navigate that as you feel is best with your kiddo. I love talking about bravery. Bravery is one of my favorite things because bravery doesn't exist without fear. If you do something and you're not scared, then that's not brave. But being brave is being scared and doing it anyway. And so we can encourage our kiddos to be brave. We can encourage them to take one step further than they're feeling comfortable with. But it's also important that if your kiddo is terrified of going to camp because of this experience, it's not going to be helpful or beneficial to take them kicking and screaming. We can do things like, hey, let's try to go. Right? Let's see how long we can stay on the first day, or how long we can stay the next day. And so we want to challenge them in a healthy way within what we call their window of tolerance or their frustration threshold. We want to encourage them, we want to push them a little bit further, but we don't want to push them so far that they get flooded and that they completely shut down. You know your kiddo the best, and so it's important to lean into that and lean into what feels right in the moment. But trust us, you're not going to get it right all the time, and that's okay. That's part of parenting, and we're all just doing the best we can in light of this experience, and that's okay. Don't be alarmed if your kiddo is extra clingy or extra emotional in these next few weeks, next few months. This is their little bodies trying to process what happened, trying to process the unpredictable nature of this, trying to process the confusion. Soak up those extra hugs when you can, and if you need to set a boundary, you can, and you can say, feeling all touched out right now, or hey, I need to protect my little body bubble, and so I'm gonna go take a break and then I'll be back. Or hey, having you lay on me is too much right now, but can we hold hands instead? Right? How do we maintain that connection without shutting them down, but also without completely shutting ourselves off? It's an important balance. It's a hard balance to find, but it's an important one to identify for yourself, and that's going to change moment by moment. As parents, our job is to be the calm sea in the midst of the storm of our kiddos, and that is a really, really hard ask, especially when our seas don't feel very calm. And so the first thing for co-regulation, which is where kiddos borrow our nervous system and they are able to regulate themselves when we're regulated, the first step of that is to regulate yourself. Taking a few minutes, doing some breathing exercises, doing some grounding exercises. These are all important things when you feel your seas start to get stormy. And then that way, when our kiddos are stormy, they can borrow our calm, they can borrow our regulated selves, and that helps them to achieve regulation in and of themselves. It's important to know that all around emotions are probably going to be higher. You may notice higher anger, you may notice behavior issues, you may notice more tears, you may notice nighttime fears. These are all typical and important to validate. It's important to know that even in adults we're experiencing these things. And so the biggest thing is to be gentle with yourself, to do those regulation experiences and activities, and to be able to validate those emotions for yourself and for your kiddo. As parents, we have the opportunity to also demonstrate emotional expression in a healthy way. And so being able to disclose that you're feeling sad, you're feeling confused, you're feeling angry, and show how to be able to name it and to process that in a healthy way is a really beautiful thing that we get to do as parents, to show kiddos that our feelings are okay to feel. If we squash those feelings down, if we pretend that they're not happening, they're gonna blow up. And that isn't healthy for anybody and isn't fun for anybody. An example of this is to tell your kiddo, it's okay to feel how you feel. I'm feeling confused too. I'm feeling emotional too. I'm feeling sad too. Let's figure out how to express that together. Or maybe we can go for a walk together. Or let's do this breathing exercise together. And really leaning into that connection, again, that co-regulation can be so healing in that moment when they're feeling chaotic, you're feeling chaotic, to be able to really sync up and bring both of you down. If you're noticing behavior issues, which is absolutely expected in these moments of confusion, you want to validate the experience, you want to validate the emotion that they're experiencing, you want to set the limit, and then you can give them some alternatives. So, example, oh, I can tell that you're feeling really mad right now. I can tell that you're feeling big feelings. It's not okay to throw our toys. It's not okay to hurt our sibling. If you need to throw something, let's go outside and throw the ball. If you need to let those feelings out, let's throw some ice outside. So we're able to see it and validate it's okay to feel how you're feeling. This way that you're expressing it is not okay. So let's talk about how you can express that in a way that's healthy. And that's a really beautiful thing, to be able to help them work through those emotions and complete this emotion cycle that we go through. So often we have an emotion, we're able to sometimes identify it and process it, but we don't always finish the cycle. And so sometimes really getting it out of your body is a beautiful way to wrap up that cycle. One of my favorite ways of doing that is to just name the feeling, like, oh, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. It's okay to be overwhelmed. I felt overwhelmed before. I have made it through that feeling before. And then take a big breath. And then pick 3 body parts to move. Squeeze your hands, raise your shoulders, move your body around. With kiddos, you can make this fun. You can have them like wiggle their arms or shake their hips, or anything to kind of really express that emotion physically can really help change the tune if your kiddo is stuck in that unhealthy emotion expression. It's really important to remember that healing is done in connection. It's done in community. As we're all navigating this, it's important not to isolate. It's important to lean into these conversations. It's important to share when we're struggling or we're having a hard day or things are just feeling really heavy. We don't want to lock ourselves away. We don't want to push it down. We want to be able to talk about it in a healthy way. This is the time to reach out to your support system. This is the time to have times with other families and other kiddos and be able to have a sense of normalcy and a sense of routine is really important in these moments. For those of you who are walking through specific grief from this tragedy, we have a couple of books that I personally love. The first one is called Tear Soup, and this one is just a really beautiful book for any kind of grief. And then the second one that we really love is called The Invisible String. Both of these books are really great for helping us adults or kiddos. I'm a big fan of reading kid books to grown-ups, but to be able to navigate grief and the complexities of it. Grief is one of those things that ebbs and flows like the waves of the ocean, and one day you're doing great and the other day wave comes from nowhere and knocks you off your axis, and that's okay. That's the nature of grief. And so these are both really great resources. Invisible String really focuses on how we're still connected to everyone in our world, even when they're not here anymore. And Tear Soup really helps us to be able to put words to some of the grief that we're experiencing. It's important as we wrap this time up to remember that grace is the most important thing. We all need it. We all need grace as we navigate this, as we navigate the emotions, as we navigate the complexities of it. Grace for yourself, grace for your partners and your family members, and grace for your kiddos. We're all doing the best that we can. And remember that on the days when you have 20% to give, and you give that 20%, that you gave all of you. We are collectively grieving as a community through this tragedy. And it is so hard to walk kiddos through things that we don't even understand ourselves. If you feel that you need extra help in this season, whether for you, for your kiddo, for a family member or a friend, the Vine is here. We have a great staff of counselors who are so committed to supporting and surrounding families.